this banking crisis has swept in 5 bank failures. First, there was Silvergate, but everyone dismissed that because it was some weird crypto bank. Then it was SVB, but everyone sort of dismissed it because they said it was based on panicky VCs rather than a systemic problem in the banking system. Then it was Signature Bank, which got seized on Sunday, which I think utterly refuted the idea that this was just a Silicon Valley problem. Then you had First Republic, which would have been the next domino to fall if it wasn't backstopped. And then 5, you had Credit Suisse. Again, avoid an outright failure because it got backstopped by the Swiss government. So we now have 5 banks in roughly a week, and these are not small banks. Credit Suisse is a globally systemically important bank, and the other ones are top 20, top 30 type banks. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in deposits. So clearly there's a larger phenomenon going on here. And frankly, it's being caused not by like anything VCs did, because VCs are just depositors. We're just one class of depositors. And depositors are not to blame for what's going on here. What's going on is these banks have huge unrealized losses on their balance sheet, and the losses have come from the sudden spike in interest rates.
Real quick, progressives, please listen to me. The money that they put, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, this is what you could have gotten, progressives. $24 billion in student loan bailout, $85 billion to repair school infrastructure, $20 billion for paid family leave, $40 billion for child care, $24 billion for dental for seniors, and $22 billion for 2-year free community college. Where are the progressives? That's what you could have got.
Hold on one second.
All right, guys. So I'm pretty sure most of you guys know there is a banking crisis going on in this country. Okay, you have major banks either collapsing or on the verge of collapse. And things would be a lot worse if it wasn't for good old corporate socialism, okay? Because socialism is rapidly spreading in this country, but mostly for the rich, okay? The government seems to love socialism for rich people, and that seems to be what is happening here with this banking crisis, and that is saving a lot of these banks from absolutely collapsing. Now, the reason why we got to this point is because some of these banks are being mismanaged. Like, for example, we had the SVB Bank, which is a woke bank. They're run by woke revolutionaries who donated millions of dollars to woke initiatives like Black Lives Matter. And then you have another bank, a Swiss bank, that is on the verge of collapse, Credit Suisse, that was saved by the government, who just happened to have an executive at the top of that company that is non-binary. Okay, they're a non-binary individual, and their main focus seemed to be pushing, LGBTQ DEI initiatives across other banks in the world.
LGBTQI leader, I think some of the things that's really helped me on my own journey is, A, being really proud of who I am, really owning my authenticity, because I think people relate and correlate to you so much better when they know you're being totally genuine, sincere and honest. I think also, having had certain amounts of adversity on your own journey, I think that inbuilds into you a fair amount of sort of extra resilience, which then really helps empower your own sort of...
Okay, they seem to be more focused on diversity, equity, inclusion than, risk management, right? Especially at a time where you have rapidly increasing interest rates, and some of these banks had a lot of debt, government debt, treasuries on their books, unrealized capital losses because the value of those bonds that existed at the time that they got rapidly declined because of increasing interest rates, okay? And because they have these unrealized losses on their balance sheet, they don't actually have enough money to pay depositors when they, again, don't have enough cash on hand to fulfill deposits. The next thing they would do is to go to sell their debt securities. Their debt securities are devalue, which means they can't raise enough money from that. And then they got to try to raise money in other ways, which sounds the alarms across the industry, right? Among depositors that, hey, this bank is probably not good for what they say they are, okay? And the Biden administration, again, had to come in and bail out his rich friends, okay, aka the VCs, aka the private equity folks that donate to the Democrat Party, and then he came out and told the American people that, it's about small business, which is a flat out lie. Make no mistake, this is about the rich. This is a bailout for the woke rich, more specifically, and my guy Charles Payne, who does not get nearly enough credit for how smart he is, especially in the finance world, is going to go off on Biden and Janet Yellen for the lie that they're telling to the American people and progressives. So I want to react to that. But before I get into that, we're talking about bank collapses and potentially the whole financial system collapsing, which means that you probably want to cover yourself or hedge against this possibility by obtaining and accumulating real physical assets or precious metals like gold and silver. And that is why the sponsor of today's video is Noble Gold. Guys, there are two things that are true about the times that we're living in. We're at war and we're in a recession. Okay, now the government doesn't want you to know that, right? But you are the one that's going to get hit the hardest when most people understand exactly what's going on. Okay, we're at war and we're in a recession. This is why you have to protect you and your family, because we all know that things are going to get worse. Okay, we just witnessed the collapse of a major woke bank. Okay, second largest bank collapse in history, right? Second largest. And it's only getting worse. Fortunately, Noble Gold is here to help you and your family, because you work too hard to save your money and to invest just to lose it because of sanctions, wars, tariffs, irresponsible financial institutions, Biden's reckless spending, along with the Fed's inconsistent monetary policy that is driving up inflation. Gold and silver are real physical assets that are outside the system. And it would be nice to have real physical assets outside of the system when things inevitably go wrong. And a great way to keep your money safe for retirement is with a precious metals IRA. The team at Noble Gold Investments has been helping people like you for years save for retirement. And this month, they're giving away a free Gold Eagle bullion coin with every $50,000 IRA rollover or purchase. Don't get trampled. So call the team now at 877-646-5347. That is 877-646-5347, or visit Noble Gold today at noblegoldinvestments.com. But just remember, there's always a risk of investment and there's no guarantee of any kind.
There are so many ways to go at this. First and foremost, the administration's focused on public relations and twisting words.
Oh, wow.
Listen to me, folks out there. All depositors with less than $250,000 in the bank are covered. You were covered before this weekend. You've been covered for years. Everyone is covered. Okay, what they're trying to cover is the fact they bailed out billionaires in Silicon Valley, and it has messed everything up.
Facts. 100% facts. Okay, if you have less than $250,000, okay, in your bank account, or up to $250,000, you're covered by what they call FDIC insurance. Okay, and that again goes across the board. Okay, whether that's business or regular personal accounts or whatever, you're FDIC insured. So those people didn't need a bailout, right? If you had less than $250,000 in your bank account, you didn't need a bailout. That money was good, right? The government was good on that money. The reason for the bailout is for bigger businesses. It's for larger businesses, okay? It's for the big businesses that Biden claims that, hey, this is not for, right? This is about the little guy. It's not about little guy. It's never about small business, right? It's never about small business. It's always about the big guys, okay? I'm going to tell you guys, if you want to know how much the government really cares about the people who they actually work for, just pay attention to their response times. Look at how long it took Biden to respond to the East Palestine crisis. Okay, it took weeks. Okay, he still hasn't been there. He rarely speaks about it. But when it came to this SVB bailout and collapse, he was on it since day one, right? It was a priority for his administration. Why? It's not because the small businesses weren't going to get their money, right? It was because the big businesses, the woke venture capitalists, right? The rich, the woke rich, they weren't going to get their money, okay? That is who he was concerned about. He got on that quick, fast, in a hurry, right? That's exactly what happened.
Let me tell you, they have blown it, because now she's got it. Senator Langford said, listen, if a bank in my community went under and people had more than $250,000, would they be bailed out? She did the him and a Han thing, and there's got to be this, and there's got no. No. The answer is exactly. No.
No, because they don't give a damn about those people. They don't give a damn about those people. Again, if you was a small business, okay, in a local community, and you were doing well, you got more than $250,000 in your bank account or whatever, if your local community bank goes under, you ain't getting no bailout, right? You not get a bail. You get your $250, but everything above that, too bad, so sad. You should have known the risk, right? But when larger multi-billion-dollar VCs, though, woke VCs, when their money in excess of $250,000 basically goes under, oh, wait, hold on. We got to change the rules, right? We got to make some exceptions. they don't care about the little guy, right? They don't care about you. They only care about the rich.
Silicon Valley was bailed out. Bigwigs in New York were bailed out. So as far as how safe we are, listen, you guys know I'm a rose-colored glasses kind of guy, but in the last 72 hours, let me just tell you what's happened.
Oh, he took them off.
There's a thing called the discount window, where banks go to get money from the Federal Reserve. This week, they got $153 billion. The week before that, $4 billion. Put that in perspective. The Federal Home Loan Bank helps assure banks, last 3 days, not counting Thursday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, $250 billion. A record $112 billion on
Why did
Monday.
they need all that money?
Why do you think? They're worried. I mean, yeah, the Federal Reserve.
Why did they get that money?
Let me give you all the money. Federal Reserve extended FDIC $142 more billion. And they just created a new fund for banks. So let's say you own bonds that mature in 10 years, but right now at $100, but right now they're worth $70. You can go to the Federal Reserve and get $100 for it. By the way, ultimately that could cost us $2 trillion in loans. So
now, will that be paid back? Who knows, right? Who knows will that actually get paid back? But this is what they're doing. They're allowing these companies whose bond prices have depreciated rapidly because of rapidly rising interest rates, which, again, is just mismanagement from the Fed. Okay, they should have started raising interest rates as soon as the federal government, through their fiscal policy, decided to spend trillions and trillions of dollars. They were slow to the ball game to predict that, hey, this would cause inflation, which should be obvious to these, world-class economists, right? Or allegedly world-class economists. They probably got some woke people working at the Feds too. But this basically caused these bond prices, these debt securities, to rapidly decline. So now the government's saying, okay, well, we'll let you trade them in temporarily at par, right? Which is the price that they bought them for originally from the government, or the price that the government issued them for, because you can buy bonds from other people. You don't necessarily have to buy government bonds from the government. You can trade bonds with other people. But yeah, and they're letting them trade into bonds, cash into bonds for par, okay, which is usually, what, 1,000 or something like that? Par is 1,000. So yeah, this is what they're doing.
They have created a moral hazard here that they did not have to create. Silicon Valley Bank was a bank of venture capitalists. It had no real connections. And when President Biden and Janet Yellen says small businesses needed to meet payroll, that is a lie.
Fact.
Not a lie that they needed to, a lie that they were at risk. Again, 95% of the small businesses have less than 250,000. They bailed out billionaires, and we are.
Facts. Again, 95% of the small businesses had less than 250,000. So again, who did you bail out? Right? You didn't bail out small businesses. Small businesses ain't got that much money in their bank account. Right? But who does? The big guys. Again, this is the trick from the federal government here. They don't expect people to actually look into this stuff, to, get the facts. They just lie, right? They just lie.
This weekend is going to be scary. It's going to be very, very worrisome. President Biden should have come out Sunday night and said, 90%, 99% of Americans, you are covered. Keep your money in your community bank, and we've got you
Why
covered.
didn't he?
Facts. That's exactly what she should have said. That's why I said, I'm thinking from what I know, right? I'm like, why are people afraid of a bank run, right? A run on the banks. I'm like, this bank is not like Bank of America or JP Morgan. No, it's not an actual big bank. Okay, I mean, it is a big bank, but it's not a bank where regular, normal, everyday people go and put their money into, right? The clientele of that bank were risky startup businesses and private equity firms for the most part. So I'm like, if a bank like that goes under, why would people go and automatically think that, oh, my money at Bank of America is not safe, right? I'm not going to get that money. I'm going to go do a run on the banks. I'm like, that doesn't make sense, because most people and a lot of businesses don't have more than $250,000 at one bank, okay? So again, this is where capitalism comes in. This is how capitalism is supposed to work. I don't actually agree with regulating these smaller banks as much as the bigger banks, okay? The actual true too big to fail banks, okay? And the reason why is because I think they should be allowed to compete. But with that type of deregulation, there has to come responsibility. And again, the small guys are already covered, right? So if you're a small guy and you're banking, with, a local community bank or whatever, a less regulated bank, you're already covered by the government because chances are you don't have more than $250,000 in your bank account. Now, bigger guys, bigger businesses, if they want to risk banking with a smaller, less regulated bank, then that's their prerogative. That's on them. But they have to suffer the consequences if that bank goes under and they have more than $250,000 with them. It's really that simple. And you know how, again, just free market capitalism fixes the problem? Well, what happens is that these bigger firms will think twice about putting money in riskier, smaller banks, right? They'll say, hey, you know what? I don't know. If this bank goes under, then I can get bailed out. I'm not going to get my money back in excess of $250,000. I think I'm going to put my money in a much safer bank, right? That has more regulation. That way, you know, again, the chances of me losing all my money because a bank collapses or a bank fails is less, okay? Again, if there was a bailout that we should not have done, it was this one, right? If there was a collapse that we should have just let happen and just suffer the consequences of it, it should have been this one. Okay, tech was already in a bubble anyways. Okay, it was already on the verge of collapse. The fact that it is this fragile tells you that, hey, it's a house of cards that's about to fall down, right? And you just should just let it fail. That's capitalism. Let it fail. Okay, it's really that simple. But no, you can't let your rich buddies lose out on their money. You can't let them do that.
Because his political donors got out there. Bill Ackman got on Twitter. They called him up, said, you must bail us out. This is Silicon Valley. This is the venture capitalists. You know how much money we put in your campaign?
Facts.
You know what you owe us?
Facts.
Figure out a way to paint this as a way of bailing out the small guy, but save us now. And he did.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did. Because the politicians are prostitutes, right? They're prostitutes, and these rich VCs and private equity guys, big corporations, they're the pimps, right? They got it pimped out. That's why anytime there's a financial crisis, the government gets up and they move instantly, right? They move instantly, okay? The rich, the corporations say, jump. They say, how high, right? The rich, the corporations say, get on your knees, and they say, okay, where, right? Where, okay? The rich, the woke corporations say, open your mouth and say, ah. They open their mouth and they say, ah, okay? That's what they do. That's how it works. Again, look what happened to the small guy. When the small guy, what happened to East Palestine, there was no money to be made. There were no rich donors for them to please, or that would have been hurt. So they didn't do nothing. They dragged their foot, right? You have people getting poisoned and they drag their feet on it. I don't know if FEMA can help, right? We don't know. We got to take some time to evaluate. But it took them no time to evaluate what the Fed could do, what the federal government can do to bail out the rich. I mean, if you don't see what's going on, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, I mean, we literally just saw two crises that happened. One that affected the poor Trump folks, okay, or middle-class Trump folks, and one that mainly affected the rich. And look how fast the government acted when it came to the rich versus the poor, right, or the middle class. Charles Payne is 100% correct on this, right? He's 100% correct.
I know that you've been digging through this, and
It's
so when you shout it,
no, it's
because it's disgusting what they
because
did.
they keep talking about going after millionaires and billionaires, and every chance they get,
Right.
they
help
save
them.
them.
Yep.
But only the ones who vote the way that they want them to.
Guess who's got to pay for it?
Exactly.
You do. Everybody with a community bank account, everybody with a small bank account, everybody with a bank account in America is paying once again to bail out the billionaires that buy. Oh, real quick. Progressives, please listen to me. The money that they put, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, this is what you could have gotten, progressives. $24 billion in student loan bailout, $85 billion to repair social school infrastructure, $20 billion for paid family leave, $40 billion for child care, $24 billion for dental for seniors, and $22 billion for 2-year free community college. Where are the progressives? That's what you could have got.
Hold on one second.
Yeah, they they don't care. They're ignoring this crisis because they're financially illiterate, right? They don't even realize that this is a bailout for the rich. They just listen to the Biden administration and just, you know, take what he says at face value, right? It's just true. It's just true.
There's a man who's running for president. His name is Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Does he use this?
100%. President Trump ran
Yeah, he
on.
should use it. I mean, like, come on, man. This is straight up the exact opposite of what Democrats claim, right? They claim that they're going after the rich, going after millionaires and billionaires. Every single time they get a chance to do it, they don't do it. Why? It's because they're bought and sold, right? They're bought and sold by those people. They use that rhetoric. The rhetoric of wanting to tax the rich or to redistribute the wealth or whatever. They use that as a way to get votes from dummies, right? People who don't understand money. They haven't taken a red pill on how things actually work, right? That's what they do. And it's just funny because it works. It works. I mean, look at Bernie Sanders, the #1 socialist in the Democrat Party. Man is a millionaire multiple times over, right? He's a capitalist. AOC, capitalist. They're all capitalists. They love capitalism for themselves, right? Capitalism for themselves and socialism for the rich, right? That's what it is, okay? And everybody else gets crumbs. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.